The views and opinions expressed in this podcast are simply that, opinions. All are presumed innocent until proven otherwise in a court of law. Sensitive topics are discussed. Discretion is advised.
Convicted mother and son murderers Donna and Charlie Adelson caught on body cam video being themselves, entitled inmates. Tonight, we'll show you these revealing videos. On a quiet Saturday morning in Angleton, Texas, 31-year-old Onita Romulus allegedly turned a family vehicle into a blood box. She's accused of shooting her 4 children, killing her 13-year-old son and her 3-year-old daughter. Court documents say Romulus told investigators eerie things, believing the children were, quote, with the devil, and feared they would kill her. She now faces 2 counts of murder and 2 of aggravated assault with a deadly weapon and is being held on a staggering $14 million bond. Tonight, the latest in this tragedy. But first, on June 3rd, 2024, a strange but extremely violent and tragic attack. Bionca Ellis allegedly followed 3-year-old Julian Wood and his mother Margot from a grocery store into the parking lot in North Olmsted, Ohio. Investigators say she stole kitchen knives from a thrift store, then stabbed little Julian, sitting in his shopping cart. Little Julian died. Margot was also wounded, trying to pull him to safety. Now, Bionca Ellis is on trial, and we will show you the devastating surveillance video. I'm Vinnie Politan. Thank you so much for joining us tonight here on Closing Arguments. Great to have you aboard. Let's talk about mental illness. It's going to be a big part of the show this hour. And our system of justice, unfortunately, there is a big cross-section between people who are suffering from different levels of mental illness and our criminal justice system. People who are committing crimes, people who are arrested, people who are accused. Now, there's a couple different ways our system these days handles people who have some, differing levels of mental illness and have committed criminal offenses. Some jurisdictions have picked something up that I think is a great way to handle this in many circumstances as at least one choice, which is finding people who've committed these offenses guilty but mentally ill, distinguishing them from people who are just straight up guilty, right? So guilty but mentally ill means, yeah, you're convicted, you are locked up, but you're treated in a humane way in an effort to handle and deal with the mental illness that you're suffering from. And I've seen this pop up in many more jurisdictions in recent years. So there's more of a trend to do this. The more traditional way that we usually talk about mental illness in the criminal justice system is legal insanity. And legal insanity is tied to the words not guilty. Now, legal insanity, mental illness are 2 different concepts, okay? Mental illness is a medical standard. Legal insanity, a legal standard. So it's a standard that our courts use to determine whether or not someone has the mental state where they can be convicted of a crime. And generally speaking, it is understanding the difference between right and wrong. Understanding the wrongfulness of your actions, that what you're doing, you're not supposed to be doing. Now, there are thousands and thousands of defendants across this country who have been found not guilty by reason of insanity. And these are in cases where both sides agree, meaning the prosecution and the defense agree, and the experts that they hire all agree that, hey, this person at the time that they committed this offense could not distinguish between right and wrong. Thousands of people. Those cases never go to trial because everyone agrees. It doesn't mean they go free. It means the court still has jurisdiction over them, but they're not locked up in jail. They're in facilities. Sometimes they're inpatient. Sometimes they're outpatient. They have to come to court every 3 to 6 to 9 months and appear in front of the judge to determine if they need more freedom, more treatment, less treatment, etc. Now, there are some who go to trial, and that's when the sides don't agree, when the defense believes that the defendant did not know right from wrong, and the prosecution says, no, the evidence is there that this defendant knew exactly what they were doing. And I don't know, maybe 49 out of 50, 99 out of 100 times, they are found guilty. But there are times where people have been found not guilty by reason of insanity in front of a jury. Andrea Yates, not guilty by reason of insanity. It took 2 tries, though. First time, she was found guilty. It was overturned. They retried the case, and the jury agreed. Despite the fact that she killed her children, drowned them, the jury found that at the time, she believed she was saving her children from the devil. And that she was told she had she believed she was doing the work to help and save her children. And she was getting the messages from God. And the sides didn't agree, but the jury agreed with the defense in that circumstance. So that can happen. Okay, so now let's get to the first story that we're covering tonight, which is a trial on Court TV. This is a woman who, on video, is seen following and then attacks 2 strangers. One of them, a small child in a stroller. Complete random stranger attack. Now, it's obvious she's got some level of mental problems or mental illness, whether or not she's understanding right from wrong, et cetera. That's what the trial is about. But let's take a look, because a lot of her actions are caught on video. So I'm going to show you some of the video from before the attack and then some video from after the attack. You're not going to see the actual killing of the child, but we're going to show you that video so you can understand her actions and see some of the evidence that the jury is seeing in this case as they make this evaluation of this defendant. She goes in, she steals some knives first, and then she goes to another store, and that's where she spots her victim. Let's take a look.
Are these the items we're seeing here on the screen?
Yes.
Okay, at 40 seconds, we see you testified before I showed you the video that you see, or you sense a shift of her behavior, correct?
Correct.
As I press play again, can you describe for us your memory, what you were feeling in this moment in the lobby?
At this moment, I feel like that she's irritated. She's putting her stuff away. She goes to walk out, and then she looks back at me and then flips the light off.
The kitchen knife area aisle where you could observe Miss Ellis now sifting through the knives.
And why was it important for you to collect this surveillance?
It was important because we're trying to establish a timeline as to what had occurred prior to the incident.
And I don't know if you can see, it's a little faint. Timestamp up top on this exhibit.
My eyes aren't that good, so no, I cannot. I could see a time, but I couldn't tell you exactly what that is.
will be up.
You got a med kit?
Okay. You want around the side? You're good. Who's got a med kit? We have a female in custody. Are you bleeding? Are you hurt anywhere? Hold you up, okay? Grab your other arm. We're going to lift you up, okay?
Stand up, okay?
1, 2, 3, stand up. Stand up. Come on. Come around. 14.
Mark it back this way.
52 LO3, I got 3 units. 1719 myself. And tried to go. In the parking lot. Third aisle. If you got EMS coming.
It's going up now, squad. It's going up now.
Take place out here.
Right here. Right there.
Literally right here. Right here.
See this? John, what do you need help with? We got statements rolling. We got Luke washing his hands out. We have him grabbing his camera. We got to secure this area right now.
Yep. No doubt. We need some shades. He's got the female. She's under arrest.
So the kid was in a car? In the car?
Yeah.
Okay. All that. So it was in the car. The car all over?
Yeah.
Yeah, stories like this are extremely scary and chilling. The randomness of it for that little child. All right, let's bring in our think tank and try to work through all of this. Joining us, criminal defense attorney, former head New Jersey County prosecutor Bob Bionca is with us. National parenting and family relationship expert Dr. Sue Kornbluth, and former sex crimes prosecutor for more than 3 decades, Stacey Honowitz is with us as well. Great to see everyone trying to make some sense of everything that we just saw here. Dr. Sue Kornbluth, I just wanted to have you start the conversation for us here about what are the things that we need to look at and notice and figure out to try to get to the bottom of why? Because to me, that's what this is all about, right? Trying to get inside this woman's mind.
Yeah, Vinnie, I mean, that's the hardest part of all of this, is when these things happen, we don't know what is going on inside of their minds at the time that it is going on. I think that's why it is so difficult to prosecute people like this. In this particular incident, though, as you just showed, it looks like there is some premeditation, but we don't know that. Did she go into that store to get those knives so that she could go and hunt someone down and stab them? Was she hearing voices in her mind at the time or getting messages that would say she's having a psychotic break and went in there and the voices were telling her to pick a child to kill? We don't know what is going on in her mind at the time that this happened. But what we do know is that something is definitely mentally off with her. And that is going to have to be determined inside that courtroom on some of kind of speculation here, because we don't know what was going on in her mind.
Bob?
Yeah, well, Doc, let me just ask you this. I mean, as I'm looking at this case, and of course it's chilling, like you said, Vinny, but doctor, when a forensic analyst is looking at this case, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, but the cases that I've handled, they're dealing with goal-directed behavior. There's no question about the fact that somebody does what she did is mentally ill, but that's not the forensic standard. The forensic standard is whether she knew the difference between right or wrong, despite how crazy, quote unquote, it may have been. So I would throw back to my psychologist or somebody like yourself, and I'd say, well, can you show to me that based upon her stalking-ish behavior, getting the knives, hiding the knife, waiting, looking, and like, you know, Vinny said, it's chilling, but she picks and identifies the person she wants to attack. Isn't that goal-directed behavior?
It could be, Bob, but how are you going to prove that there weren't voices in her head at the time that was commanding her to do that? And I think that's where we're in disagreement.
Yeah, well, I don't have to see, fortunately for me, when you ask the question, and rhetorically I understand, how do I prove it? I don't have to prove anything. The defense has to prove by a preponderance of the evidence that this person, even if she was hearing voices, and even if she was having a psychotic episode, still does not mean that she can't know the difference between right or wrong. So as a prosecutor, I'm going to say to them, Doc, hey, ball's in your court to prove that she was unable to know the difference between right or wrong. Different way of looking at it.
We shall see.
Stacey, go ahead, jump in there.
Well, I was going to say what Bob makes that prosecution's argument, because certainly they are in court and the issue is not did she do it, but was she sane at the time? Did she know the difference between right and wrong? And so all of these issues, all of these things, the directed goal, the going in, the premeditation, she followed them around the store. Then she didn't go and look for somebody else. She followed them out of the store. Then she went ahead and stabbed this child. It is unfathomable to look at this. But the reality is, in this courtroom, the defense now is saying that she's not sane. And so how do we move from here? They're going to get all of their experts to come in, to analyze her, to test her, to see what's her history, what are her priors, has she ever been institutionalized before? Talk to the family members. Is there a history of schizophrenia? And that's when you go back and forth in the courtroom, because the defense is saying she's insane. She suffered from some mental disease that made her not know the difference between right and wrong. And the prosecution saying, no way. She knew exactly what was happening here. So that's what you're looking at.
Anyone troubled by the fact that she's walking around with this knife and no one seems to notice?
Nobody's thought.
Nobody does anything.
Yes.
And I understand if you're in a grocery store, maybe they think, you know, she works in the deli section. I don't know. But to me, that's another part of this. Everyone's sort of oblivious to someone walking around kind of waving a pretty large knife. I mean, that's not necessarily something that you normally see.
I don't know if they're oblivious or not. Vinny, I think this goes back to the innocent bystander effect in a way where everybody is thinking that somebody else is going to call this in or is going to act and stop this. I mean, I think you have a good point that somebody's walking around with a big knife, that they could be the person cutting up the fruit in the back, but nobody's really walking out in a market with a big knife just sticking out. I mean, where was everybody? That's something that irritates me.
Yeah, I don't get that either. Okay, great news. Think Tank staying with us. When we come back, we've got another case with clear case of there's something mentally wrong with this woman. A mother shoots 4 of her own children in the car. 2 of them survive, 2 don't. We'll talk about that story, plus coming up next hour. Tonight on Vinnie Politan Investigates, Corey Richens was working at Home Depot when she met Eric Richens, a successful businessman in Utah. They fell in love, got married, and started a family with 3 little boys. But now, Eric is dead, and Corey is charged with murder. The alleged murder weapon? A Moscow mule laced with poison. Can prosecutors prove the case? Tonight, we investigate.
The Court TV podcast will return.
Yesterday, Brazoria County deputies responded to an unthinkable, unimaginable tragedy. This event has shaken our community, and we are all feeling the loss.
So we just covered a story involving a woman who attacked someone else's child. Now we've got a story involving a woman accused of attacking her own children, 4 of them inside her car, killing 2 of them. It happened in Texas. Here's Sheriff Bo Stallman from Brazoria County.
Evidence indicates that the driver of the vehicle identifies as a 31-year-old Oninda Romulus. She's the mother of the 4 children involved. All 4 children have sustained gunshot wounds. Sadly, a 13-year-old boy and a 3-year-old girl did not survive. We are thankful to report that an 8-year-old boy and a 9-year-old girl are now in stable condition. We believe that the evidence shows that this tragedy has occurred inside of the vehicle and that Romulus, the mother of the children, is the shooter. At 4:48 a.m. yesterday, Romulus called the Brazoria County Sheriff's Office. When deputies arrived, they immediately began providing life-saving measures to each children until medical help could arrive. The two surviving children were life-flighted into a Houston area hospital where they remain in stable condition. Romulus was later arrested and charged with 2 counts of murder and 2 counts of aggravated assault with a deadly weapon, with a total bond set at $14 million. Romulus is a current resident of the Montgomery County here in Texas, where Sheriff Wesley Doolittle is the sheriff there of Montgomery County, and he is here with us today. His office has assisted us with investigative tasks that have taken place there in Montgomery County. Our investigators, along with responding agencies, continue to collect and analyze evidence in this case and in this ongoing investigation. I also want to thank the people of Brazoria County and our surrounding communities. The prayers, the messages and support shown for these children, and also for the first responders involved in this, mean more to us than what words can express. It is impossible to make sense of a senseless tragedy like this, but we will do everything we can to seek justice for these children.
Right? Public enemy number one, you're going after and you're shooting 4 children inside of your car. But remember, we're in Texas. Texas is the same state where Andrea Yates was found by a jury of her peers not guilty by reason of insanity after drowning her children one at a time. So there's, there's a lot to the case that I think has to be peeled back here. Take a look. We have some more details here, and this might give us more insight into how the case may play out. KPRC2 has obtained court documents that detail the state of mind of a woman accused of shooting all 4 of her children early Saturday in Brazoria County. During an interview at the county sheriff's office, Romulus appeared paranoid about her surroundings and repeatedly looked towards the door, records show. Investigators say Romulus initially told them she couldn't talk about it, then said, get ready, instead of them doing it to me, I'm going to do it to them. When an investigator asked, do what? She responded, kill them all, records show. When asked again why she called 911, Romulus said she didn't call 911, but instead called the devil. What's going on here? Let's bring back in our think tank, Bob Bianchi, Dr. Sue Kornbluth, and Stacey Honowitz. Stacey, there's a couple things here. First, in the fact that she calls 911, although she says she's calling the devil, what is that? Is that, to me, that's a significant part of this, and I'm sure the defense thinks it's a significant part of this. What are your thoughts about that particular fact in this scenario?
Well, if you erase it from other things and you just take that one fact, a prosecutor is going to run with that and say, listen, she must have known what she did was wrong because she called the police to report it. The flip side to that, of course, is the defense saying, well, you're taking it out of context because she said she called the devil. So once again, Vinnie, this is a horrific case. We are dealing once again with a case where a mother kills her children. And of course, the first thing that anybody's going to look at if a mother takes the lives of her own kids is she obviously is suffering from some type of mental illness. But once again, we get right back into this whole cycle again of what she suffered from before this. Is there some kind of schizophrenia, paranoia, something that would lead the defense to say she needs to be evaluated because she was insane at the time that she took the lives? Anybody that would take the lives of their own kids must be insane.
Yeah, Vinnie, listen, I would be worried as a prosecutor about that very fact that Stacey's bringing out, that just by the sheer nature of shooting 4 of your children seems insane. So as a prosecutor, though, unlike the other case, this case, there's motive. She gives a motive as to the reason why. You may not agree with the motive. You may think the motive is quote unquote crazy, but she's telling you a reason. Because of this, I did that. And to your point, it is hugely significant to me, and I'd be curious as to what the doctor thinks, that when you're looking at, again, goal-directed behavior, she knows how to pick up a phone, she knows how to hit the right numbers, and she knows how to contact the authorities. I don't care what she calls them or what she says afterwards. And to me, not only is that very telling, the fact that she didn't want to talk about it at first and then decide to talk about it shows deliberation, shows thought, and shows, most importantly, all those things together, she knew the difference between right and wrong.
Dr. Sue Kornbluth, I want to put one more thing in the mix for you here, okay? To give you a little more of the history here. And it concerns one of the victims, the 13-year-old. Oninda Romulus appeared on season 1 of Paternity Court in 2013. The episode posted to their YouTube channel. Here's a clip from that.
I heard from someone that he was at the script club having sex.
You can hear what you want to hear.
He was having sex
You can hear
behind
what
the
you want to hear. That don't
dumpster.
make it.
This ended your relationship. You took a break.
Partially, it ended our relationship, Your Honor. I was seeing him at times. We were seeing each other. He was saying, oh, I miss you. I want to get back together. I was like, you still doing you? Because I've been hurting other incidents.
All right, but were you seeing anybody else during this time?
Yes, I was.
There were 2 men on that episode. Neither one of them was the father of the child. Give me your analysis.
Yeah. Well, I have a lot of analysis here. First of all, back when Susan Smith and Andre Yates were doing all this stuff, we didn't have access to social media or clips from television, but here we do. And I think you can see, and what's going to hurt her here is that she was competent enough to be on a television show and to speak clearly and openly. So she was also posting a lot of Instagram posts saying that she wanted her own life and things like that. And I think that's going to hurt her case much more than it is with the first case we were talking about today. You know, it takes a lot to shoot your children, all right? It's the worst thing you could ever do. And she did it. Now, was she hearing voices? Yes. That is an argument that you can make mentally. You can also make an argument mentally that you don't want your children around anymore so you can go off and have your own life. That's another reason why parents kill their children as well. But I think in this case, she is not going to get an insanity plea or anything like this.
Do we think we look at men and women differently here in this scenario? Because we've covered cases where men have slaughtered their children, and we don't even have the discussion about this. It's like, let's send them to death row.
No, there's no doubt, Vinnie. I mean, to disabuse anybody about the fairness of the criminal justice system, that women are treated completely different, both in the guilt phase and in the sentencing phase. And I know that one judge or one situation doesn't bear out everything, but I know judges that, you know, would not sentence women to prison because they either had children or they were pregnant or things of that nature. So you are right. You're bringing out a really interesting point. I don't think it's going to make a difference in this particular case. I think that they're going to still find her guilty, but men don't get that even luxury of a look.
All right, we're out of time for this segment. Coming back, the Adelsons. Remember them? We've got new video of Charlie and Donna in custody after their convictions, and I think it gives us a peek into their entitled attitude in custody.
Now, back to the Court TV podcast.
Verdict. Count 1. We, the jury, find as follows as to count 1 of the indictment, first-degree murder. The defendant is guilty of first-degree murder.
We, the jury, find as follows as to count 1 of the indictment, first-degree murder. The defendant is guilty of first-degree murder. Mrs. Adelson, control yourself.
The arrogant, entitled Adelsons. We've got new video to show you. Let's start first. The Untold True Crime Files channel on YouTube was able to get their hands on video of Donna Adelson after that verdict was handed down. Take a look.
I know.
117 is in control. Don't get your inside slide, please.
Did she not know? I kind of had an idea the way the jury was going to go on that one. Now let's take a look at Charlie Adelson. This one, a little bit more revealing. Take a look. Apparently, I think he got his toe stubbed or something, and it becomes a big deal. Let's watch.
Really stupid. Really stupid.
Sorry.
Really stupid. You open the hatch. I'm standing here barefoot and you slam the door into their toe.
Can you 56 Foxtrot too?
Really stupid. Congratulations. You open a hatch and someone's standing here barefoot, you open a door into their toe?
Excuse me.
That was really stupid. Bring your lieutenant over. I'll tell him how stupid you are.
Okay.
You don't know what stupid is?
He's on the way, sir.
Give me my medicine and open the hatch like a normal person. There's someone with a brain.
We're gonna wait just to keep it for.
Please open the hatch like a normal person.
I don't mind. I don't mind waiting at all. Hey, there's a guy number 4. What's his name? Oscar?
I'm not sure. I don't know what's
Can you be in Route F2 as soon as possible? Okay, thank you. All right, bye.
Which one? 7?
Yeah.
That'd be good, so let me check it out.
I'm going to take you down to medical to be checked out, okay, sir? Sir, I'm going to take you down to medical to be checked, okay? We came to this cell to do medication pass. He was standing at the door. I unlocked the door to push the door open. He said I ran over his toe. So I said I'm going to get him down and take him to be checked out. I've been recording. He done cursed me out. He done called me stupid. He told me to call you down here. He gonna tell you how stupid I am.
So he needs, he's saying he needs medical attention?
He didn't say he needed medical attention, so before I open his door all the way, I did you.
LC don't go. Yeah, sure. What you got?
Medical comes to hand me my pills, so I stand at the door so I can get them through the hatch like I always do. She opens the door and pushes the door and runs it over my toe. Okay. So I said, you just toe up. You hand medicine through the door every single time. I'm standing here barefoot. If you look at the door, it's a big gap. If you're standing here barefoot, take a heavy door and slam it forward, you're gonna almost toe up. It's common sense. That's all it is.
Which toe?
My right big toe.
That's the step over and see toe?
I don't think it's broken. I just think it's fine. I just like my medicine to be left alone. But that's not the issue. Use the hatch in the door they use every single time. It's common sense. If someone's standing here barefoot in front of a door, you don't issue a shoes. I'm standing barefoot. You stand there barefoot, and I slam the door.
Okay, so call me. We're gonna take it down. He's looked at it now.
You got an X-ray there? Or?
No.
What are they gonna do? We're gonna tell them.
We're gonna talk after that. All right.
Sir, can I take my medication before I go down there?
Yeah.
I apologize for saying it's stupid, but when you get your toe slammed into by a door standing there, it surprised me.
And he's calling her the stupid one. Who's the one that's locked up and will be behind bars for the rest of his life and die a convicted murderer? Not her. That'll be you, Charlie Adelson. Let's bring back in our think tank Bob Bionca, Dr. Sue Kornbluth, and Stacey Honowitz. Is anyone worse than the Adelsons, Bob?
Well, listen, no. And I can't help but think when I'm look, her reaction I get. It's fresh, it's raw. By the way, cops did a great job, the corrections people, in taking care of her. Him, I'm wondering, what are the guys in the jail when this gets out and they see that he's upset because he had his toe stubbed? This is not a good look with the fellow inmates, if you will, and with the corrections officers who have the ability to do one very powerful thing with inmates. I'm sorry, Vinny, if I'm being real here, but they have the power to turn their heads. And this guy's putting himself in jeopardy with something over his stubbed toe. Give me a break. What a wuss. Sorry.
Well, Bob, I honestly do not think that Mama Drama Donna Adelson's reaction out of court was just a reaction. This is a victim. She plays the victim. I mean, let's be honest, everybody. Did anyone see a tear rolling down her face? I certainly didn't. And Charlie, her son, is just, an apple off the tree. Personality disorders, everybody, you're not born with. It's from the interpersonal relationships that you've had, especially with your parents. One narcissist, two narcissists equal malignant narcissist.
Yeah, I mean, the arrogance displayed by both of them is really incredible because, you want to look at her and she wants to make herself out to be a victim and she's crying. And like Bob said, you understand the verdict came in. I don't know why she didn't expect it to be any different. But when you think back, if you remember the testimony, the letters that she wrote, the things that she said about her son-in-law, the names that she called him, the things that she wanted to do to him, what she went through to conspire to kill him, and then you look at that, you say to yourself, you've got to be kidding. And the same thing with him. He's so arrogant and he's so holier than thou that I don't know what his end game was in screaming and calling these people stupid. Did he not realize that it was going to be worse for him in the long run? No, because he's arrogant and he's got a personality issue. So you look at this case, it has captivated the world, basically, and people are just waiting to see if something new is going to happen in this case by way of other people being arrested.
Yeah, and I love the fact that we get this video because we get a slice of something we don't normally see, right? We see him when he's on his best behavior inside the courtroom, trying to convince the jury and doing everything right. But then we get to see who he really is. And to me, this is very, very revealing and shows that, yeah, this is someone capable of doing what he was convicted of, because this is the real Charlie Adelson, right? It's like Charlie uncut, sort of, right? And to me, I would love to be able to show things like this to the jury during the trial, but they don't get that picture. They get everyone on their best behavior. But this would be very confirming, I think, for jurors to see this and know that they put behind bars someone who clearly is capable with the level of arrogance to have made the call here and to be like, I'm smarter than everybody. Everybody's dumb. Everybody's beneath me. All right, I'm sleeping with this girl. Maybe she'll get her idiot boyfriend, the Latin King, to commit this murder. And I think that's exactly what was going through his mind.
Yeah,
Vinny, I always laughed about... Go ahead, Steve.
Bob, okay, I have to just be quite honest with you. What was happening there was another manipulation tactic off of Charlie so he could have his voice heard. That's why he said he stubbed his toe. He's not in the Four Seasons with his satin sheets, and he wants his voice heard constantly, over and over. We saw that in the courtroom, and guess what that did? Got him out of his cell for a little bit. And that's what I think Charlie Adelson wants. He's a manipulative snake.
Tell it like it is, Dr. Sue. Go ahead, Bob. We have like 10 seconds left here.
No, I was going to say, nothing easier than an arrogant, wealthy person. I never lost a case against them. They always think they're the smartest guy in the room. They always talk, and they always get convicted.
Great job, everyone. Bob Bionca, Dr. Sue Kornblue, Stacey Honowitz, great to have you aboard. We'll see you again really, really soon. When we come back, folks, I will reveal something else you need to know tonight, plus coming up next hour. Tonight on Vinnie Politan Investigates, did Corey Richins poison her husband, Eric? Did she take the life of the father of her 3 little boys? And did she try to get her family to lie for her at the trial? Tonight, we investigate.
This is the Court TV Podcast.
Time to reveal something else you need to know tonight. Let's take a look at the big board. Engaged. Congratulations in order for Kevin Franke, Ruby Franke's ex-husband. They finalized their divorce 6 months ago. Ruby Franke convicted along with Jody Hildebrand for abusing her children. They are serving time, but Kevin Franke making a big announcement on Facebook. Here it is. A lot has transpired since I've been on Facebook several months ago. I am thrilled to announce my engagement to a wonderful and amazing woman, Becca Bevan. We are planning a simple wedding on November 14th here in Springville with family. I just wanted to share my happy news with all of you, my friends. Redemption is a real thing. There were moments during the past 3 years when I didn't think I would ever feel happiness or the warm embrace of a loving partner again. I'm so grateful for grace, resilience, a loving God who gives me hope, and family and friends that buoyed me when I couldn't stand on my own. Thank you all. Here's to new beginnings and fresh starts. And good luck to Kevin Franke and that entire family. And hopefully everyone can move past what Ruby did to her kids. All right, take a look at your screens. We have a child who needs your help. This is Kelsey Curtis, missing out of Lawton, Oklahoma, 16 years old. If you see Kelsey, pick up the phone, make a call, make a difference, 911. 1-800-THE-LOST, or you can call the Lawton Police Department in Oklahoma. Numbers on the screen for you. Let's see if we can get Kelsey to a safe place tonight. Don't go anywhere. We have another hour of live true crime. Vinnie Politan Investigates is next. In the meantime, please don't forget to hug the kids. There you have it. If you want to see more in-depth reporting on the latest true crime stories, you can see me every weeknight, 8 p.m. Eastern on Closing Arguments. Thank you so much for downloading. And as always, please don't forget to hug the kids.
This podcast is a production of Court TV. Go to CourtTV.com for more content, trials on demand, and to find out how to watch Court TV in your area.